The containment alarm screamed through Station Meridian's residential sector at 0300 hours. Commander Xylith responded with her security team, expecting the usual, a malfunctioning air recycler, perhaps an unauthorized gatherings. Instead, she found chaos. 2 Kravax cubs, apex predators from the Death World designation list, were loose in Corridor 7B. Their handler, a human named David Chun, stood between the cubs and 8 security officers, arms spread wide. "Stand down, Mr. Chun," Xylith commanded, her weapon trained on the snarling juveniles. Each cub massed over 40 kilograms of muscle, claw, and teeth designed to hunt prey 3 times their size. "Step away from the predators immediately." "They're not predators," David said calmly, though his heart hammered against his ribs. "They're children. They're Category 5 biological hazards," Xylith corrected. Behind her, 2 officers raised capture nets reinforced with monofilament threading. "We received reports of unauthorized wildlife in a residential zone. Station protocol is clear." The cubs pressed against David's legs, their 6 eyes fixed on the security team. Low growls rumbled from their throats, not quite threatening, but far from welcoming. "I have permits," David insisted. "They're registered emotional support animals." "Emotional support?" Xylith's translator nearly garbled the words in disbelief. "Mr. Chun, Kravax are known to hunt in packs, coordinate ambushes, and have been responsible for 17 registered deaths across the frontier colonies. Adults, maybe. These 2 were abandoned when their pack was killed by poachers. I've been rehabilitating them for 6 months." "Rehabilitating," Xylith repeated flatly. "Sir, step aside. We will contain these creatures humanely, but they cannot remain on this station." David didn't move. The cubs sensed the tension, and the officers advanced with nets. David raised his hands in surrender, starting to step aside. The moment space opened between him and the cubs, they erupted. The first cub hit the monofilament net with enough force to tear through 2 layers. The second leaped clean over the capture team, landed behind them, and positioned itself between David and the security force. Their movements weren't random. They were tactical, coordinated, protective. "Fall back," Xylith ordered as her team scattered. The cubs didn't pursue. They reformed their position around David, creating a living barrier. "See," David said quietly, kneeling to place a hand on each cub's shoulder. They immediately calmed, their growls subsiding to soft chirps. "They're not attacking. They're protecting." Xylith watched through her weapon's scope as the supposedly savage predators nuzzled against the human, their aggression evaporating the moment he touched them. It defied every xenobiological principle she'd studied. "Commander," one of her officers whispered, the cub's stress hormones dropped 90% when he made contact. "They're bonded to him." "That's impossible. Kravax don't bond with other species. Their neural architecture doesn't support cross-species attachment." "Tell that to them," the officer said, pointing. The cubs had positioned themselves on either side of David, their bodies relaxed but alert, eyes tracking every security officer with protective vigilance. One of them licked David's hand with a tongue that could strip flesh from bone, as gentle as a house pet. "Ow!" Xylith lowered her weapon, genuinely confused. David scratched behind one cub's sensory ridge, prompting a sound uncomfortably close to purring. "I fed them when they were starving, kept them warm when they were cold, cleaned their wounds, protected them when they were vulnerable." He looked up at Xylith. "On Earth, we have a saying, a dog will remember the hand that fed it for a lifetime. These aren't dogs." "No," David agreed. "But loneliness, fear, trust, those are universal. They were babies who lost everything. I gave them safety." He smiled as both cubs leaned into him. "Turns out, predators remember kindness too." Xylith holstered her weapon, overriding every regulation she'd been trained to follow. "If they harm anyone, they won't. I promise." As security withdrew, Xylith filed her report with a note that would ripple through xenobiological databases. Kravax cubs exhibit unprecedented cross-species bonding with human handler. Relationship appears stable. Subject demonstrates Earth species' unusual capacity to form emotional connections with apex predators. Recommend further study of human-predator dynamics. The cubs followed David back to his quarters, their deadly potential subdued by something more powerful than containment protocols or capture nets. A human stubborn insistence that every creature, no matter how dangerous,